Hey everyone, welcome to the September edition of the Central Contra Costa County, that's a mouthful, monthly market update. In this episode, we're going to go through the 4 cities that make up what I call Central Contra Costa County. That's going to be Martinez, Concord, Pleasant Hill, and Walnut Creek. So without further ado, let's start with the first city on this list, and that's going to be the city of Martinez. You will catch me glancing off to the screen just so I can review my notes. That will be corrected soon. I have a new gadget on the way that's going to prevent that from happening, but for now, work with me, will you? So let's start with, again, Martinez. In Martinez, what we're seeing is that prices appreciated 16% year over year. That's comparing September of 2021 versus September of 2020. So quite the increase. This is a little bit more aggressive still when we look at August. August of 2021 versus August of 2020 saw only a 5% increase. So this indicates that from a pricing perspective, things are getting a little bit more aggressive in the city of Martinez. Additionally, if we look at just month over month, kind of what happened between this August and this September, did prices go up or did they go down? In Martinez, what we found is they actually went up, and they went up by exactly $48,000. So, we did see a kind of a light dip going from July into August, but things did pick back up coming into September out of August in the city of Martinez. The other thing that we like to look at is price to list ratio. This indicates, approximately from a seller perspective and a buyer perspective, how much above list you should expect to list at or bid at if you are the buyer. And so what we're seeing in Martinez is that things are actually pretty mild and they're staying pretty consistently. So in the month of September, the average sales price to list price came in at 4%. This has come down, which is, I think, good if you're a buyer because it's just a little bit more predictable. When we compare that to the month of July and the month of August, which were identical at 7%, this means that you don't have to be on average as aggressive over the list price in order to get your bid accepted. So if you're in the city of Martinez, that is what's happening there. As we look at some sales data, the number of homes that have sold in the city of Martinez has stayed relatively consistent. So for the month of September, 45 homes were sold, and there's very little fluctuation because when we look at August of this year, it was 44 homes. When we look at July of this year, it was 49 homes. So things are staying pretty consistent in the mid 40s in the city of Martinez in terms of the number of homes that are being sold there. Lastly, days on market. Approximately how long does a property stay on the market before it goes under contract? In the city of Martinez, that is currently at 18 days. This has increased a little bit, a little gradual increase from July into September. So the month of July, it was 13 days. In the month of August, it was 16 days. And in the month of September, it was 18 days. So things are, in general, taking a little bit longer to sell. But if you're if you're a seller, that is actually okay. It's nothing to fret about because the year over year and even the month over month appreciation in that city is still really strong. So at this point, from a seller's perspective, I wouldn't be super concerned. So let's shift gears just a little bit to the south. We're going to go to the city of Concord and see what's happening there. We're actually going to notice some similarities between the city of Concord and the city of Martinez. So in Concord, year over year appreciation for the month of September came in at 13%. Remember, Martinez came in at 16%. So kind of a similar pattern there. If you are looking at the average sales price of a home in September of 2021 versus September of 2020, again, that increase year over year came in at 13%. So things are still holding steady and strengthening in the city of Concord. From a sales price perspective, we saw month over month, we saw an increase there as well. So similar to Martinez, from July to August, we saw kind of a dip, but coming out of August and back into September, we see kind of a slight increase again. So in the month of September, the average sales price for a single family home in the city of Concord was $854,000. That is up from $839,000 the month prior. So things are, again, kind of on the up and up, ever so slightly, but still, trending in a direction of some continued appreciation in the city of Concord. Now, as we look at the sales price to list price ratio, for you to get a feel for how much over list price things are actually closing at, Concord is also kind of, pretty mild, and it's trending downward. So if you're a buyer, that is some good news. Again, you probably don't have to bid as much over list as you were in months prior. So we'll dig into that data for a little bit. In the month of September, we came in at 4%. So that is what you should expect to, on average, be bidding over list price in order to get your offer accepted. This is good news. This is down a little bit if you're a buyer from the last 3 months in the city of Concord, as the month of August came in at 6% and the month of July came in at 8%. So you don't have to be as aggressive as you did in months prior. Again, doesn't mean that things are getting cheaper, but the overbidding is not as aggressive, so kind of a correction there. Lastly, looking at the number of homes sold and how long they're taking to sell in Concord. So in the month of September, we saw a slight increase from 102 homes that were sold in the month of August, and that went up to 115 in the month of September. And if you're wondering how long they are taking to move on average, the answer is going to be 19 days. So things are on average taking a little bit longer to move in the city of Concord. In the month of July, that was 12 days. In the month of August, that was 14 days. And in the month of September, it's a little bit longer, it's 19 days. So again, if I'm a seller, that will adjust my expectations. And if I'm a buyer, I'm not saying don't hurry, don't miss out on a great opportunity, but by and large, things are taking a little bit slower to move. And that typically happens as we get into the colder months, fall and winter. So that is the pattern that we're currently seeing in the city of Concord. So now we'll shift gears a little bit to the west of Concord, and we're gonna go to the city of Pleasant Hill. And what is a little interesting about Pleasant Hill that's different from Concord and Martinez as it relates to the real estate market activity is that while year-over-year appreciation is still very strong, nothing to be worried about. It's actually up 13% year-over-year. So in the month of September this year versus the month of September in 2020, the typical single-family home went for 13% more than it did last year. So if you're a seller, this is good news. However, we did see a price dip month over month in Pleasant Hill, and that is in the amount of $34,000. So the average single-family home in the city of Pleasant Hill, when we're looking at September of this year versus just 30 days ago in the month of August, again, that decrease in the average price is coming in at $34,000. When we look at list price compared to sales price, kind of where they come on the market versus where they actually end, things are also cooling down a little bit milder in the city of Pleasant Hill. So 3 months ago in the month of July, it was in the double digits. It was 11% above list prices where you had to bid on average to get your offer accepted. That cooled down a little bit into the month of August by 4%, coming in at a total of 7% for the month of August, and it cooled down a little bit more into the month of September, coming in at 5% over list price. So if you are a buyer, you were in this market 3 months ago and you were getting outbid, maybe you're still in the market and, according to the data, there is not as much that you have to overbid in order to get your offer accepted as an average. So looking at the inventory of homes sold, Pleasant Hill doesn't have a ton of inventory, which is the case everywhere, but even less so in this city in particular. So Pleasant Hill's been in the 30s consistently for the entire quarter. So in the month of July, it sold 36 homes, month of August, 38 homes, and last month, 35 homes. So pretty consistently, there's not a huge variety of available homes in Pleasant Hill, which is part of what makes it super desirable. And as far as days on market, it's staying pretty consistent. So 3 months ago in the month of July, the average single family home took 10 days to go under contract. That increased up to 18 days in the month of August, and that actually stayed exactly the same going into September at 18 days, which is in line with where Pleasant Hill was this month of September of 2020. It was 18 days back then as well. So pretty normal, not a big change there in terms of how fast homes are coming off the market in the city of Pleasant Hill. And so lastly, we'll bring it home with Walnut Creek. Walnut Creek is, if you're not from the Bay Area, one of the most desirable cities to live in, and there's a lot of reasons why people pursue Walnut Creek as a place to raise their family in particular. But Walnut Creek has gotten hot, it has stayed hot, it is super desirable, and the numbers definitely show that. So year-over-year appreciation sat at 12% for Walnut Creek. So again, if you're looking for a single family home in the city of Walnut Creek and you were shopping in the month of September this year versus September of last year, you would expect that homes are selling for on average 12% more this year than they were last year. As far as pricing goes, it's actually pretty stable. So Walnut Creek for the last quarter has sat at that $1.5 million range, and it has barely budged from there. So don't expect a lot of price fluctuation, either increase or drops in the city of Walnut Creek. As it relates to list price to sales price ratio, again, one of my favorite metrics to look at, just a really good way to level set for buyers and sellers in terms of how aggressive the market is, overbidding anyway. We're seeing that things are staying pretty consistent in the city of Walnut Creek. In July, the average single family home was selling for 11% over the list price. That came down by about half into the month of August, where it dipped to 6%. And then in the month of September, it crept up just a little bit more to 8%. So if you are looking at something on the market and as a buyer, you're wondering, well, how aggressive am I going to have to be in order to win this home, knowing that things are selling for over ask? The answer is, on average, 8% above list price is where you're going to have to come in at if you want to be competitive for that home. But again, every single listing is different. This is just an average. In terms of the number of homes that sold and how long they are taking to come off contract once they hit the market, the answer is inventory staying pretty steady. So in the month of July, 65 homes were sold in the city of Walnut Creek. In the month of August, that dropped to 54, and then last month it crept back up to 68. So it's good to see that more homes were sold in the city of Walnut Creek, and we'll kind of watch the data and see where the trends go from there. In terms of how many days on the market it takes for them to go into contract, the answer is 15, and that's been pretty steady in the city of Walnut Creek. So in July it was 13 days, August it was 19 days, kind of a big increase, and then things are moving a little bit quicker in Walnut Creek. So some cities we're seeing that it's taking a little bit longer. Walnut Creek is one of those things where things are actually moving a little bit faster. So we will continue again to watch this data, see where the market goes from here. But if you're shopping in Walnut Creek, or if you're listing in Walnut Creek, this is going to be insightful data for you to kind of game plan and help you strategize your plan going forward.